Okay. Oh, sorry, I have to change the button. Okay, so now there was one problem, if you remember. I am checking the video on YouTube, so I would write it here, wait for you a little bit. The lesson has started, please. This was the question. I don't write it in full form, but this question was, we have given a quadratic equation 4m plus 1 times x squared, and then what was that, minus 4mx, and then plus m minus 3 equals to 0. And my question was, I hope that now you remember these type of questions, you understood these type of questions in the previous lessons. I want to repeat it here once more. I give you a quadratic equation with one parameter involved, m, and I am asking you to find all possible m's for which this quadratic equation has two roots. So let me write it in summarized form. For what values or values of m, this equation has two roots. Okay, so that was the question. I give you 5 minutes to think. I will solve this, and then we start solving new type of problems. You need to know them for the quiz on Friday. As I told you, this quiz will affect positively your grade, so don't underestimate the quizzes, please. I'm still waiting.
If I have the ABC, but they're in the wrong order, can I flip them around?
What do you mean? Yes, you have to. A is always the one.
No. Say I have like a number with 3 different ones, and C is supposed to be without an X. Like the last one is supposed to. Can I flip it to the beginning and flip the first one?
No, that's what I'm saying. C is the one without the unknown. All the parts without unknown is C. All the parts multiplied by the degree 1 is B. All the parts multiplied by the degree 2 is A. This is the way that you have to interpret. Okay, I hope that you could solve this problem. Any answers?
Wait.
Not yet.
Can you wait for 5 minutes?
Yes, I will wait. The problem is that this might be an A-level question before I told you how to do it. But after you know how to do it, I wouldn't say it's just repetition of what you learned. Okay? And this is why I want to emphasize on the role of memory. Don't underestimate it. Yes? I want you to fine-tune. Do you remember the simulation we did with GeoGebra? It means I want you to find all possible values for m, so that when you replace m with those values, you generate quadratic equations. When you solve the quadratic equation, it gives you two roots. Because every quadratic equation is not guaranteed to have two roots. Some quadratic equations have two roots, some of them have only one double root, and some of them does not have any roots at all. But this is not the way that you have to think and disturb yourself. This is very simple. Okay? You have a lot of experience. If you cannot do it, it's not because you didn't understand the problem, because you have forgotten. Then I don't know how to, I'm just drawing your attention to it. I cannot help you with your memory, so you have to decide that from now on, I don't want to forget, and find a way. I introduce you the Anki website. It doesn't hurt. Just make an account there. It is free. Put your flashcards there. You have to try to enjoy the process of learning. If that is not enjoyable for you by now, of course I can feel you. You don't want it, and then you will not learn it. Yes?
Baba, and the values of m, I think it is minus 1 over 4 and 3. The other one is 3.
So you got two values only.
Yes.
No, but I don't think it is correct. Because I have experience, this shouldn't be two values. Yes.
I only got 3.
Three values.
No.
Only 3. What?
I got one value. I got like minus 3 over 8. Negative 3 over 8.
You are closer, but that's not one value. Your interpretation is wrong. Okay, let us see. To be honest, please listen to me. I want you to see why you couldn't solve the problem, if you couldn't. So everyone understand what the question is? So you know what you have to do. You have to set up D, the discriminant. Discriminant is what what decides for you if the equation has one root, two roots, or no roots. So this means it is simple. Okay? So you have a value in this equation. What is a value? This expression plays the role of your a. What is b in this equation? Minus 4m. What is c in this equation? What is left without x's in total? Plus m minus 3. Okay, I don't know how many of you remember the formula for the discriminant in the ABC form. It is b squared. That's good. 4ac. Okay, here you have to be patient and check your calculations carefully. So what I do, I just put them in. That is not a hard task. B is minus 4m. I have to put a power of 2. Might be you write like this. That is not correct. Everything to power 2 is correct. And then you have minus, you put minus. You have 4, you put 4. You have m. Don't write it like this. A is this one, I agree, but this is not the correct way of writing. You understand that you need a pair of brackets. And then multiplied by C. C is this guy. You see, this problem is consisting of a lot of E questions. So that's an E question. You wrote D properly. The next E question, simplify D properly. Yes, so I just want you to see a hard problem is somehow a myth. It's combination of a lot of simple problems, usually. Of course, there are really hard problems that we don't know how to solve, but at least at this level, that's not hard. Okay, so be patient. Can you do this? What is the answer to this bit?
16m squared.
Okay, so if you have doubt, your weakness is not in this lesson, is in what you learned before. Okay, so 16m squared. Okay, what is your point? I have one number, another number, another number. I want to multiply them. If you cannot do it, it means you forgot the first lesson. You should be able to expand this. How? What, can you tell me how? What should I write?
Multiply minus 4 with...
Okay, multiplying minus 4 here is correct, but I think my experience tells me don't do that. Write minus 4 here. Multiply these two first. Of course, if you exactly what you're doing, it doesn't matter which way you do it. But this is my experience. I see many papers, when I correct them, they mess up this minus sign. So I would prefer to put minus 4 here, multiply this patiently. 4m times m. You see, I have trained my brain. When I am multiplying this, I ignore the other parts, not distracting me. And then after that, I see the bigger picture, see what to do. But this one is an E-level question, even less than E-level question. I don't know what that is called. But this becomes minus 12m plus m minus 3. Okay, so this is the case, yes? And then, of course, how should I continue? What? Yes, we can add them and then multiply. Some of you might prefer to multiply directly, then simplify. That is subjective, that you follow your own method. Let me simplify because I want to simplify and then continue. So it becomes 16m squared minus 4. 4m squared is alone. But what can I write for the middle term?
11
minus 11. M and then minus 3. The next step is to 16m squared. I multiply minus 4 in. So it is minus 16m squared plus 44m plus 12. Yes or no? Okay, but what can I do? This one and that one are gone. So what is left for me is 44m plus 12. I can write this as D and put it in a box. Yes? We can also double check. 4m squared minus 12m plus m minus 3. So it is 4m squared minus 11m minus 3. Then I multiply that. Everything seems fine. That's it. So how many of you got this D right? If none of you, be careful. It is not an A-level question. Calculating this, you can find it in the beginning, in the C-level questions of the beginning lesson this year, this course. Okay, so your weakness is not in this lesson. And that is the problem in mathematics. If you don't know these nuances very well, they will accumulate and prevent you from solving the problem. Because how many mistakes you can tolerate? In mathematics, one single mistake is not tolerable. You cannot tolerate even one single mistake, let alone accumulation of a lot of mistakes. Okay, then what is the next step? So before, if this is 3 points, you got 2 points so far. Okay? Now the next step. This part, this equation, you want to force it to have 2 roots. What should I do then? I have to force what? I have to force D to be? No, D should be bigger than 0. Because how many times I should repeat this? There are 3 scenarios for a quadratic equation. Because there are 3 scenarios for D. D is a number. It might be positive, it might be 0, it might be negative. This is the reason that we have 3 scenarios. Because for a number, there are 3 scenarios. If D is positive, how many roots? 2 roots. If D is 0, 1 double root. If D is 0, no roots. This is not hard to remember. Okay? And then in this problem, I want to force it to have 2 roots. So what should I do for it? I have to force it to be positive. So then you write to guarantee. I hope that this spelling is correct. To guarantee 2 roots, we have to have D positive. Yes? And then what should I do? I would say that this is my D. I make it positive. This is why I didn't accept your answers. Because some of you said that I got 2 answers, some of you got 1 answer, but how many answers are there? Yes?
It's 44.
Oh, 44, thank you. How many answers are there?
2.
But again, you say 2. So this is why you didn't understood, because I agree, this is the bad point. In Math 1C, you didn't have this maturity in mathematics. But hopefully now, how many answers are there? I am asking you, can you give me all numbers so that 44 times of that plus 12 is positive? How many numbers do you think there are? 1? A little bit mistake. Infinitely many. Yes, what are those infinitely manys?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No. This is another mistake. What is that? What are those infinitely manys? You need to solve this. What is this called in Math 1C? Inequality. So you have to solve an inequality. And this is why I predicted that you are wrong. Because I knew that I make it positive, and I know that the answer should be infinitely many, but you are telling 2, 3, 4. It is not correct. I didn't even need to know what your answers are. So this means that, how should I solve this problem? I move 12 to the other side. And then I want to make m alone. There was one single point that you have to be careful in solving inequalities. What was that? When you divide by a negative number, flip the sign. But what I'm doing here, I'm dividing by what? 44. 44 is positive, so I keep the sign. So it's minus 12 over 44. And then, of course, don't leave it like this, because you can simplify by 4. So what happens? M greater than minus 3 over 11. So, this is the answer. If I ask you, can you explain in English what we have done? You will say yes. If I choose a number m greater than this very particular value, I don't care what that is, this is a number, I choose m greater than 1, greater than that number, whatever it is, I put it there, there are two solutions for it. And how many m's are there? Infinitely many. The question is asking you for what value or values of m. This equation has two roots. You will tell me that for all values of m greater than minus 3 over 11, there are two roots. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, but you have to be a little bit careful here. If you write this in the exam, I have to accept it from you. But might be there is some problem here. You know what happens? Because this d is for quadratic equation, but is this equation always a quadratic equation or not? Answer wisely, okay? Just not randomly. My question is that, is this equation for every choices of m is indeed a quadratic equation?
Yes, it's quadratic index.
It is 99% correct, so I'm happy at least. But there is 1% that I would say no. Hasbullah, do you want to say something?
Yeah, if x is 0, then it's not.
No, if x is 0, we cannot say if x is 0. So then I don't understand. So I'm a little bit confused. My question is that, you see, I am changing m and I am generating quadratic equations. Do you think for every choice of m, I really generate a quadratic equation? It should be simple to answer. I think I don't lose my hairs, you know. This is left for me. Yes. Yes? What? Yeah. Yes. So is that right? So for example, if I choose m equals to 0, do you think it generates a quadratic equation or not?
Yes.
Ismail, you are killing me. Why you say no? Did you check?
0 times x.
Okay, no worries. If I put 0, what happens? It becomes x squared.
Becomes 1.
This is gone, I agree.
No.
X squared.
Oh, I thought you meant if 4m plus 1 equals 0.
No, my question is simple. Do you think that if I put m equals to 0 here, this will give me a quadratic equation back? The answer is either yes or no. Which one? Yes. How? Because if I replace m with 0, this becomes 1 times x squared is x squared. This becomes 0 times x, regardless of x it is 0. This becomes minus 3. This becomes equal to 0. Now my question, is this a quadratic equation? Yes. So did this equation generate a quadratic equation when m is 0? Yes or no? Yes. My question is that, do you think this always happen?
Yes.
Do you think for every choice of m this happens?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
The answer is no. Okay? The answer is no. Why not? There is one number that doesn't work.
Negative.
Okay, which negative? Yes. Yes?
So if we put m and then like you see 4m plus 1.
Uh-huh.
If m is like, let's say.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah,
If for m plus 1 is 0, then this quadratic term will go away. There is no x squared left for me. But is it possible to have this scenario? Yes. For which value?
minus 1.
If you don't know, go back to Grundschule. So m is minus 1 over 4. So if m is minus 1 over 4, this is not at all a quadratic equation. So the theory that I am explaining here will not work at all. Is that right or not?
Yes.
These are very important things, by the way. This doesn't matter. So I think somehow you don't understand the words perfectly. I mean, if you want to study psychology, social science, philosophy, you have to read the text and understand what people are talking to you. So this is one skill that you have to use. Okay, now question is that, is this equation generating quadratic equation all the time?
No.
The answer is no. If I ask you, okay, can you elaborate? You would say yes. For m equals to minus 1 over 4, this term is completely gone. There is no quadratic term left. Yes? And if I ask you, is this the only problem in front of me? You would say yes, because any other except minus 1 over 4 will not make this to be 0. So x squared will survive. And the theory that is applicable. Okay, now the point is that, do you think this will affect this result? It might be. Okay, but I don't know, I have to check. Where is minus 3 over 11? So if I go to this x-axis, let us say this is the m-axis. This is 0. Minus 1 over 4 is where? For example, here. My question is that, let us go to Grundschule. I want to put minus 3 over 11. Do you think I put it on the left here or on the right of minus 1 over 4?
Left.
Left or right?
Right.
Why?
Because it's less than 1.
Is it? Yes, because you see that minus 3 over 11, you can put this in your calculator. Yes? So you see, if I want to approximate it, 3 over 10 is 0.3. This is bigger than 0.25, which is 1/4. I multiply this by minus sign, so minus 0.3 becomes less than 0 minus 0.5. You see, I switch the sign. So this number is on the left side. Okay, what about this one, minus 3 over 11?
It's a little
Okay, so let me calculate it for you, it is easier. Otherwise, I would become crazy.
2.27.
So what is that? 11, no, sorry, 3 divided by 11. It is 0.27, approximately. So it is approximately minus 0.27. So is it here or not?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, so it is somewhere here. I don't know how much, I don't need to be very careful. Yes? It is the case. Yes? So that's why I'm saying even the author of the book didn't realize that. So he was probably a mathematician. Okay? But you see that this is affecting my result. Because in this case, I told you m should be greater than minus 3 over 11. But when I start my journey going to the right, unfortunately, I hit this number and I lose my theory because there is no second degree equation anymore. So if I want to answer this question, I want a smart guy to tell me what to write, make my day. Yes?
m bigger than minus 3 over 11, but not equal to.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's the good question. So at least you understood something. Yes? So m is greater than minus 3 over 11, but, or you can say and. In mathematics, and but are the same. So, and then m is not equal to minus 1 over 4. Yes? So this is a have to.
Can't you do the double equality sign?
What?
Like this?
No. Because you have to write it in words.
Okay.
Yes. So that was the solution to this problem. So forget about the details in the problem. I want you to understand you can talk about these things. You can analyze it in your brain. You are mature enough. You have to trust yourself. Okay? Okay. So this was one type of questions. But now there is another questions I saw in the book. I want to open it up. But I can teach it, yes? Yes. I can teach it for you, but I want you to tell me what to do first. Because I want to increase your creativity. That is the only thing. I can solve the problems, you can memorize them, and then answer them the exam. It is worthy, but not very worthy, to be honest. Okay, my question is this. I want you to solve this equation for me. X to the power of 4 minus 5x squared plus 4 equals to 0. I want to give you time to think. This is not a standard problem because this is not a quadratic equation. The quadratic equation has the highest power 2. But here I have the highest power 4. The formula that I used for, I don't know, ABC formula, PQ formula are not that much useful, directly at least. because that is not exactly the form I need. Yes, I want to give you a little bit of time. So let us say that, to be honest, this analogy is good. So let us say that you study your lesson and you are employed by a company. The company needs you to solve this. You cannot say that I don't know how to solve it because I have only learned to solve those problems. So you have to be creative if you want to win the competition in job market. So you have to be a good problem solver. Okay, I want to wait for you. My question is that solve this equation. Exactly what is the meaning of the word solve? It means find all possible values or x's, not by chance. Might be by chance you can guess an answer. That is not acceptable. You have to solve it. Any ideas? Yes?
Can you factor out the instead of x to the power of 4 is x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 2?
Okay, how it will help? So what he's saying, this is the exploring the idea, because we have to do some trial and error because we don't know what to do. What he's saying is that instead of x4, I write x2 times x2, and then minus 5x2 plus 4 equals to 0. Yes, if you write this, that is not wrong, but is it useful?
Not yet.
Not yet.
5x to the power of 2, you could write it as 5x times x.
Okay, so let me write it like that. So you have done something correct, but is this correct one useful? If you have an idea, you need to talk about what?
You can use it with the formula.
I understand what you mean. It is not correct, but that was a very good thing that you bring it up. At least it was a good idea. I know what you are doing. You are trying to give the role of A to this, yes, and you are giving the role of B to this. It's a very good idea. I actually like it. But why it doesn't work? Because in that formula, A, B, and C shouldn't involve the unknown again. Okay, so let us say, I don't want to tell you don't do that. Let us say you want to do it. You will understand yourself that this is not working. Why? Because you are giving the role of a to x squared, and you are giving, it was a very good idea, thank you. It is minus 5x, and then you say that c is 4. And then you want to put it in the formula, okay? So I want to do it fast because I don't want to spend so much time. The formula is in my head. Minus b is 5x, plus or minus the square root of b squared is 25x squared.
Minus
And then
16x squared.
minus 16x squared, yes. And then what happens? By the way, the idea is probably working, And then 2 times x is... No, the reason that it doesn't work, you will see why. It becomes x equals to 5x. And this is, by the way, a very nice method because 25x squared minus 6x, it is 9x squared. But the square root of 9x squared is also good, user-friendly. What's that? 9x. Yes. So it's plus or minus 3x, and then divided by 2x squared. Yes? By the way, it works. Okay, I didn't know that. So, but let us see why it is a little bit problematic. Because let us consider the positive sign. Then what do? You write x is equal to 5x plus 3x is 8x divided by 2x squared. Yes? Can I simplify this? On the right-hand side, 1x and 1x can be simplified because these are factors. It becomes 8. 8 and 2 also can be simplified, so it becomes 4 over x. Congratulations, it's work, and I didn't know that. Yes? But that is not the way that I want to teach you to do it, because I want to teach another idea. So can you? The problem is not finished yet because I'm looking for x. How can you continue from now? I am looking for x. I did a good job. Instead of solving this hard problem, I now only need to solve this simple problem. So it's a very good progress. Congratulations and thank you. That is the first time in my 31 years I just thought about the problem like that. So the novel ideas are always there. It's waiting for you to explore them. Yes. How can I continue from now here?
Multiply x.
Multiply by x, because this you shouldn't stop here, because that was a rule. Get rid of fractions. So I multiply by x, what happens? It becomes x squared is equal to 4. But x squared is 4. What is x?
2.
Not 2.
Plus
2 is
minus.
plus minus. Okay, you got 2 answers. But is the problem finished? Yes or no? No, because I only consider plus sign.
Ah,
There's also a minus sign. So I have to do the same thing with the minus sign. Yes? What happens? It becomes x, and then I have 5x minus 3x divided by 2x squared. What happens here? It becomes 2x over 2x squared. Can I simplify?
Yes.
Yes, 2 and 2 are gone, x and x are gone, 1 over x is left. So my question is now x is equal to 1 over x. Can I solve it?
yes.
I multiply by x, what happens? X squared is 1, so it becomes plus or minus 1. So how many answers I got? 4. Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2. We call this Ahmed's method. Yes, you deserve the name. Because I didn't know that this will work. But you know, because I know the rules, I immediately realized, no, his idea is correct. It worked. But this is not the way that I want to teach you, okay? But if in this exam, if you write this, might be my first impression is to cross it over, okay? But I have trained myself. Then when I see this, I stop because I say that this idea at least deserves some points. And then I see your calculations, you suddenly get all the points. Yes? Thank you very much. So then you need to ask yourself why Ahmed was able to get that idea, you couldn't. Then you have to do something in your brain and try to say that, okay, next time I will be able to do it. But you might say that, okay, good for Ahmed. Okay. Yeah, you need to do some competition in your brain as well. So is there any questions in his method? Is that understandable?
Yes.
So he was able to said that, okay, in order to use that formula, I need to have it in a standard quadratic form. So that was the very brilliant idea. Yes.
This is only circumstantial, right? X3 won't always work.
Yes, exactly. And that's why you cannot always find those problems. So, but the method that I want to teach you, is there any ideas, any other ideas how we can solve the problem? Yes.
Can we factorize everything?
It is not easy. In principle, you can factorize, but the factorization of these expressions is beyond the scope of this lesson, so we don't know what to do then. Of course, if you factorize, it will work. Any other ideas? I want to teach you the method of auxiliary variables, okay? Auxiliary variables, or unknowns. And this is a very powerful method in mathematics. I try to learn this one, okay? Here, I would say that let x squared, I give it a new name, auxiliary variable, helping variable. I would say that let me, myself, call x squared capital X, okay? This is not in the problem in the beginning. I am bringing it in to help me to solve my problem faster and more efficient. Okay, this new variable, I call it auxiliary or helping variable. So, or intermediate variable, whatever you want to call it. But let us see why it works. It is more or less his idea, but in a different language. If x squared is called capital X, can you tell me what is the name of x to the fourth then? Yes?
Two capital X.
Not 2 capital X. 2 capital X means this.
Yes.
That's
No.
capital X squared.
Capital X squared. Yes? Because I have to raise to power, because if I multiply both sides by 2, which gives me this one, the left side does not give me x to the 4. It gives me 2x squared. That is not what I want. I want x to the power of 4. So it motivates me to raise it to power 2. And then it becomes x to the power of 4. Yes or no? Okay. So you see, I brought a new name to x squared, then x to the 4th becomes x squared, and then I go back to my original equation and write everything in terms of my new variable. Instead of x to the power of 4, what do I write? I just simply write x squared. Yes? Minus 5. What can I write about x squared? Capital X. And then plus 4. That is more or less what Ahmed did actually. But now can you see, if you didn't see this problem, I have given you this problem from the beginning. Could you solve it? It is E-level question. Okay, but you solve this, this gives you capital X. But what you want little x. Let us do it later. So Focus on solving this problem. It should be very fast for you now. Little a is 1, little b is minus 5, little c is 4. I write d. d is b squared minus 4ac. b squared is 25. Minus 4 times that is minus 16. It becomes 9. So capital X is what? Is minus b. Do you know the formula? Minus b plus or minus the square root of d over 2a. So this becomes minus b is 5 plus or minus a square root of d divided by 2 times 1. Continue. It becomes 5 plus or minus, what is this? 3 divided by 2. And then I have two scenarios. Two answers for capital X. One answer with a positive sign. 5 plus 3, 8 divided by 2, 4. Or 5 minus 3, 2 divided by 2, 1. But you shouldn't stop there, because what did you find? You will still find the auxiliary variable. It was not in the beginning. It was not in the problem even in the beginning. I need to know little x, but then it is extremely simple. Why? You can put an arrow here. You found capital X is 4. But capital X is the name for x squared. So it means x squared is 4. It means what is little x? Plus or minus 2. And then this one, what happens? Capital X is 1, but capital X is the name of x squared. X squared is 1. Then it means what? Plus or minus 1. So what Ahmed introduced here is completely correct, and it is good for this problem solved. But this idea of auxiliary variable is helpful in mathematics. I want to focus today on teaching you different examples of this type, because this is in the book. Yes, please.
You can also use other variables, not like a big X.
Yes. I want to feel the same variable. It is, you can write t, you can write alpha, you can write y, whatever you want. But the important thing is that the method of auxiliary variable is successful if when you replace it, there is no track of old variable again. Because otherwise your problem becomes harder. Yes? Because if you have a mixture of old variable and the new variable, you didn't make your problem simpler. You made it harder. But here everything was little x. After auxiliary variable, everything is in capital X. If you have a mixture of little x and capital X, it is not useful because you are making the problem hard. Any questions? So, now let me give you another example. So, another example is this. So let me write x to the power of 6 minus plus 7x to the power of 3 and then minus 8. And let me write it like this. Let me change it a little bit. So x3, x to the power of 3 plus 7 is equal to 8. Yes? Yes? I want you to solve this. X to the third multiplied by x to the third plus 7 is equal to 8. You have to develop your creative thinking. That is the whole point of math lesson. Let me solve this one together. Okay, I think, let me write this in front of our eyes once more. Change it to black. It's more transparent. So, what is the question? X to the third multiplied by x to the third plus 7 is equal to 8. Yes? Of course, you could easily guess 1 is correct. Yes, because 1 to power 3 is 1, plus 7 is 8, times 1 is 8. But you cannot say that, okay, I found 1, so I solved the problem. Okay? Solve means find all of them. You don't know if there is anyone else. Yes? Okay, so what did you do naturally? I hope that every one of you multiplied this. Did you or didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. That's a good step. By the way, you have to encourage yourself, you know. Oh, sorry, my multiplication is gone. So this one is x to the power of 6 plus.
7x.
Okay. What is the next step you think about? Yes?
Move the 8.
Move 8. So you see, when you think, it is natural, I would say. You might say why this is natural, but if you work a little bit, you understand this is natural to move this 8 to the 0. Okay. So what, if you want to use the method of auxiliary variable, why should I use a different method? Because this is not a standard question. The standard question should have the highest power 2, but this has highest power 6. So this means that the standard method does not work. I have to find another strategy. And this lesson is teaching you this. So what do you write? Let what?
X to the power 3b.
Exactly. So let x to the power of 3 be x. Now you understand what is the goal. Yes? Then, what is the name of x to the power of 6 then?
X to the power
2. Is that right or not?
Yes.
If I call x to the third x, then x to the 6th becomes x to the power of 2. Is that right? Because you raise this to power 2, it becomes x6, this becomes x2. So that's correct. So what happens? I momentarily forget about my original equation. I write my equation in terms of capital X. If capital X is writing for you hard, change a different letter. Doesn't matter. So here it becomes x to the power of 2 plus 7 capital X minus 8 equals to 0. And then, okay, so now I want to solve this one. But you know this, so I do it fast. By the way, you don't need to. So let me write. What is A? 1, B, 7, C, minus 8, D, B squared minus 4AC is 49, minus 4 times 1, minus 4, times minus 8 plus 32. It's not hard, it is 81. Yes? So I would say capital X is equal to minus B plus or minus the square root of D divided by 2A. Lesson is not finished yet. Hello. This is minus 7 plus or minus the square root of 81 divided by 2 times A is 2. But 81 is a friendly number. What is that? 9. So it becomes minus 7 plus or minus 9 divided by 2. Then I have two things to do. One with plus sign, one with negative sign. Plus sign is minus 7 plus 9, 2 divided by 2, 1. Negative sign is minus 7 minus 9 minus 16 divided by 2 is minus 8. But you shouldn't stop here. Of course, this is the majority part of the solution, but you have to find little x, not capital X. Capital X is your auxiliary variable. Okay, so what we do, we say that, okay, x, capital X is 1, but capital X has a name. It is x to the third. So x to the third is 1. So what is x? X is the third root of 1. Do I need to put plus minus? No, plus minus is only for even roots. Smile. Hello? Yes, listen. So the third root of 1 is what? 1. So there is no plus or minus. So x is equal to 1. Plus minus is for the case I am taking even roots, not odd roots. Okay, but that's not the whole story. I have x is minus 8. Then it means that x to the third is minus 8. Then it means that x is the third root of minus 8. No plus minus. But what is the third root of minus 8? Minus 2. It is possible. Be careful. You cannot have negative values if the root is even. Yes, if you have a square root of minus 8, because this is 2, it is not acceptable. If you have the fourth root of minus 8, it is not acceptable. But if this is odd, this is acceptable. And you either leave it like this, if the number is not friendly, or you do it. In this case, you can do it. It is asking you, give me a number whose third power is minus 8. What that number is? Not 2. Minus 2. So this means that this is minus 2. So the other answer is minus 2. So how many of you got these two answers right? Thank you very much. So you see, but you have to be creative. I mean, you should be ready for being creative in math problems. Okay. One more thing. Do you remember we had some problems in Math 1C? I told you that there were more than one variable. You were supposed to make one of them a subject. Do you remember these kinds of problems? For example, I could give you mx plus n equals to 0. I can ask you solve for x, meaning x is the subject. I could ask you solve for m. I could ask you solve for n. When I ask you solve for x, it means that you have to isolate x. So you move this to the other side and you divide by m. This means solving for x. But I can give you the same question and I ask you solve for n. If I ask you solve for n, means that make n isolated. So what do? You just simply move this to the other side and this is the end of the story. So depending on which variable, I can make it a subject and ask you to solve the problem. We want to have the same type of problem in quadratic equations now. Okay? So now I write an equation for you. Without my help, I want you to solve it. I write x squared plus m plus n x plus m times n equals to 0. And I ask solve for x. This is the example. Work on it. I think you will be able to solve it fast. For x is correct, and put your answers in simplest possible form. That is important. And write your answers in simplest possible form. Yes? So I'm sure that you can start the problem. It's not hard. I hope that you can also succeed to simplify to its simplest possible form.
Minus m.
So the correct answer is minus m minus n. No, you didn't say that. No. You said minus m and minus m minus n, something like that. Okay. Anyway, so congratulations to you as well. But I will solve this problem tomorrow. So we will go to a little bit explore harder problems.